Hey guys, happy Friday! I'm here this wonderful Friday, and I say it's wonderful because I'm not technically working today. So it is a really hot, humid day here in central New York. It's actually quite cloudy, but literally the moment you step outside, you can just feel the moisture in the air. It's just kind of gross, but at least the sun's not out, so it's not like, it could be worse. So we are still in the thick of like summer, although I know it's going to come to a quick halt sooner rather than later. So I've been trying to put Monroe in all of her little summer outfits, and this is one that I haven't had on her for quite some time. I want to say, I don't even know if I put her in this last summer, but it's from 2 summers ago. Jacquerie, 2-piece set, a little petal neck collar, white cotton top. It's like a swing top with matching blue and navy and white striped bloomers. I think they're called bloomers. With a nice big bow on the front of it. It's super cute. When the top comes down all the way, it covers the bow, so I like to kind of push it up so you can see the details of the bloomers because I think they're beautiful. And I love bows. Bows, stripes, polka dots, you know. And then a little headband that is just the complementing navy color. And so while I chat with you guys, I'm gonna leave her as the focal point. I wanted to talk about, was it worth it? And what, I'm gonna talk about all of my big purchases, like some of my most expensive purchases for my doll collecting, meaning like accessories, doll furniture. I've been known to buy a lot of accessories. Whether you've followed me or not long enough to know, I am a huge accessory girl, especially when it concerns Monroe having like the perfect setup. It's always been my goal is to create a space. For me, it's a nursery space. I was not always lucky enough to have like a designated nursery in my house. It started in my early years of collecting as in my bedroom. I had like a corner where I would keep my reborns, and it evolved to eventually being able to accommodate a full room with my dolls in it. And then as I progressed, I was able to build out a nursery in our current home for the dolls that I had at that time. And I've spent a lot of money putting into that nursery the type of look so that it appears as though a living baby would be living in it. And that was always my goal, is to accessorize and have all of the things that a living newborn baby could come be in that space and be, you know, completely content and covered and have everything that baby would need, minus, you know, food and things like that. But that was my goal. I have achieved that. Although Monroe has not spent a whole lot of time in her nursery recently, because I have another room that I have converted into my home office. So because I spend so much time in that space, she most of the time is in there with me. But that brings me to this discussion. So why am I talking about this? Well, once again, I've had people reach out and ask me, you know, are you happy that you spent the money on such and such? We'll leave that, you know, blank, whatever that item might be, because I have showcased a lot of really fun baby products, whether we want to call them a prop or we just want to call it what it is. I will say that they're baby products because they are meant for babies. Nothing that I purchase is meant for a doll. Everything is for a living baby. So I'm gonna start off with first spending the money on my nursery renovation. So I spent, and I had to think about this because I wanted to be able to share with you guys what I spent on these things. I spent roughly about, I wanna say, easily $3,000 on the build out. Because that room did not exist. So we actually added an additional room into our house to accommodate, even though it's not a huge room, it's still a room. It does not It's not considered a bedroom because it does not have a closet built into it, but it is an additional room that is usable for whatever. I just happen to choose it to be a nursery. So that was definitely worth it. Would I spend it? Was it worth it? Would I spend the money again to do it? Absolutely. It really was the perfect way to have a safe place. And this is, it's not just for the look of it and the staging of it and having those props because it makes it feel more real. That's a huge part of it. But for me, it was also having a separate, safe place where I can have my expensive collectibles and be able to shut the door, lock it if necessary, away from anybody. So if you have someone that comes in and cleans your house, like that's a room that none of our cleaners have ever been able to go into and clean. It's left locked when we have cleaners here. So that way it's a safe place. When they lived in my bedroom with me, people would come in and whether I was there or not, like if we had somebody that was cleaning our house would come in while I was in, away working in my office. I always worried that they would look, touch, pick up, and handle because no one was there to tell them otherwise, even though you can tell someone that. So a big part of that is a lot to do with me being OCD, and I want to know who is, able to view, touch, see on my terms. And it never is allowed that my family knows, my other half knows. He is not to go into the doll room, show his friends unless I am present and can supervise. It's been made very, very clear. So that was a big part of why I wanted to invest the money to have an actual nursery space for me. But then furnishing it is a whole different thing. So when we built that, what I told you the cost was for that was not including any of the furnishings inside of it. I did bring a lot of things to that space before I actually had the space technically. Like I had, earlier years of my nursery, I had it jam-packed with so much crap. I had a changing table, I had a wrought iron antique crib that I had in there. I had so much stuff. I had a stroller stuffed in there. I had stuff everywhere. It was a hot mess. I don't even know how I managed to just leave it that way for as long as I did, to be honest with you, because it was too packed with things. And then a few years ago, I want to say, 4 years ago, maybe now, I revamped it. I restyled it. I pulled out all the things that were overtaking the space and crowding it. And then I went to a simpler look. And that brings us to where my nursery is today, and I've kept it that way. So I removed the wrought iron crib. I put in her little pod, which I still love. I put in a new dresser with changing table so it would serve two purposes. Let's see, I have a shelf that I keep all of her shoes and other things in nice little pull-out totes. It's very organized. I have a rocking chair in there. I never could fit a rocking chair in there before. I was able to put that in there. So now it looks like a perfectly staged nursery for a living newborn baby. Previously, it just looked like a crammed space full of dolls. It looked more like a toy room. So now it actually looks how I envisioned it to look, as the perfect nursery. And I put decals on the walls. Like there's all sorts of ambiance that I was looking for. I had a specific vision and I was able to achieve that. And I will say easily that cost me another additional $2,000 to do when I actually did that. It's a lot of money. Those are huge purchases. But because my focus is for having one really special doll, or at least very small number of dolls, it would look very realistic. And so yes, I'm fine with putting money into the room around the doll, not just into dolls. So for me, less is more, and having all of the fun props and baby furniture and everything else only adds to the fun of it for me as a collector. I'm a very different type of collector than most out there because of the fact that I have enjoyed one specific baby, and that has been my focus for over 3 years now. And yes, we've had a couple of dolls come and go, but she's been the main focus. And every time I got an additional doll, it didn't feel right to me. therefore, that's why I don't hold on to them. That's really what it boils down to. So would I do it again, and would I spend the money again for all of that? Absolutely. That's a yes. That was worth it. So that's going to lead me to my next purchase. I have an obsession with strollers, guys. Car seats and strollers. I love travel systems. I always have. I think that the higher end brands are some of the coolest looking items out there for travel systems, and Orbit Baby was always one that I really kept my eye on and really enjoyed. Always wanted one, but looked at the pricing of just the car seat alone was around, I want to say $700 for the car seat and swivel base. And I was like, no way am I going to pay that for it. Nope. So we'll just move on. So then I stumbled across my Queenie Buzz stroller system. And that was a 3-legged, very unique style stroller that came with a stroller seat as well as the bassinet that would come as a package with the frame. And then I knew that it was compatible with the Maxi-Cosi car seats, which I also loved. So I knew that even if I bought the stroller system and I wanted to have the car seat, I could purchase that separately with the matching colors that I wanted. And some of these, non-US brands, at least I don't think Queenie is a US brand. I want to say it's not, but don't quote me on that because it might be US and it's just higher end. But the design was very ahead of its time. Most stroller systems that were, able to be bought in my local stores were just cheap strollers. I just didn't like them. They were bulky. I did not care for the style of them, and I didn't want one of them. So if I was going to purchase a stroller, I wanted one that was going to suit my level of creativity. I wanted something with details and beautiful. And also the biggest thing is color options. I don't know what it is about the well-known baby brands in the US is that they are boring in their colors. At least they were then. And when I say were then, I've had my Queenie system for over 10 years. I can't believe it's that old, because it looks brand new. I'm looking right at it. And I found the color choice. One of the things that attracted me to it was the 3-wheel system on it, because it's meant for all-terrain. It's easier to navigate on anything other than pavement, which is very handy. But this system had beautiful colors. It had a beautiful coral with a maroon outer covering, and it sounds like that wouldn't go together, but it's actually very pretty. And I knew the Maxi-Cosi matching adaptable car seat that I wanted was in that, pretty salmon pink color, and so it would match the whole system. So that was a big purchase for me. The Queenie system without the car seat was approximately, I want to say, about $700 is what I paid for it at the time, and that was in 2011, I believe. And that was a huge investment for me. That was the first big baby furniture or accessory investment for me. And the moment I got it, I fell in love with it. And I still love it. To this day, it is still very futuristic looking. It's got an awesome suspension system. It has the wheels on it, and the tires on it are meant for all terrain. So it's just a beautiful system. It's still comparable to all the new stroller systems out there. And it's 10 years old. It looks brand new though. Of course, I do take it outside, but I also wipe it down when I'm done, and I keep it very clean. But it's a gorgeous, gorgeous system, and I do not regret that purchase. I would buy it again in a heartbeat. Okay, so that moves us. We move on to my Dockatot. That's one that was a pricey purchase. It might not seem pricey in comparison to the stroller system, but overall, it was still a pricey purchase for just a portable baby bed. And I researched back when I got this. It's been, 3 years now? Yep, I think I've had it 3 years because I got it before I got Monroe. Just before. So I don't know if I think that purchase was worth it. At the time, I thought it would be. And that's not to say, guys, that I don't like the Dockatot. I do. I think it's adorable. I love the print, which is the Mrs. Magato, which was a limited edition print for them. But here's the thing. Had I known then what I know now, I would never have spent the amount of money, which was approximately $200+ for it. Here's why. So many other brands of portable baby sleeper bassinet, whatever you want to call it, baby sleeper beds, because different companies call them different things. There's been so many out on the market that are just as nice, just as cute. Maybe they don't have the print, but that doesn't really matter. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. There's a squirrel outside and my dog really wants to get the squirrel. So ultimately, you know, granted, you wouldn't have exactly that, but there's so many more beautiful, you know, portable crib, portable beds for babies now that cost so much less. And I actually like the style of some of the more recent ones than I do the Dockatop. The Dockatop, the first size, the newborn size, is actually really big. It's almost too big, I think, for a newborn. So I would have chosen probably a smaller size, even though that was their small size, and especially for the price. The price, I'm holding my dog to keep her from barking at the squirrel. The price was ridiculous. So would I buy that again, and was it worth it to me? No, but I've spent the money, and I didn't know they'd come out with all these other brands that were better. You don't know at the time. I will enjoy the Dockatop because I have it, and I will plan to enjoy it, and I still enjoy it, and I still put Monroe in it. But nope, had I known then what I know now, I would not have spent the money. I would have put it somewhere else. Okay, moving on. So my Bloom high chair. So my Bloom high chair is, what do I say about that? I saw it originally on a friend's post in a picture in the UK, that she had one of her babies in it, and I had never seen something like it before. It was very futuristic looking, and that's really my style. And I thought, wow, what a great way to display a baby that's not close to the floor, because I had a little bouncy seat that I had had for years, and I didn't like putting my dolls in it because should have any of my dogs get into the nursery, which would have been impossible, but you never know. If they're down on ground level, I didn't want my dogs to be able to get close to my dolls. So I never left one of my dolls in the little lower bouncy seats because they sit right on the ground. But the Bloom chair, the high chair, I don't want to call it a fresco, Bloom fresco, which is the seat without the high chair attachment, because I didn't want the high chair, I just wanted the seat. It looks like a half egg shape, and it just, the way it held the baby was kind of like in the angle of a car seat holding the baby, in the way that it kind of sets them back, and you can adjust it to sit them up depending on how old the doll is depicting of age. But for newborns, you could lay it all the way back, and it's like them being an equivalent of a car seat because it encompassed them. It's like if you took an egg and cut it in half and hollowed it out, that is that seat. And it sits it up as high as you would like it to, you know, counter level, table level. It's all adjustable, so it keeps them away from being near the floor, so to speak. I was so excited when I figured out I could go ahead and find this particular fun thing, and I purchased it. I spent $400 on it, I think 400 and change, and I gasped because, you know, it was scary because I never know if I'm gonna really love something, if that makes sense. I never know if I'll truly love it or not, even spending that money. But when it showed up, I fell in love with it. However, as much as I loved it at the time I received it, I don't use it that much. I actually prefer to keep Monroe in my stroller, and also in the Dockatot on, you know, something up off the floor. I don't tend to put her in the Bloom chair anymore. I haven't used it in quite some time, so I'm debating whether I should sell it or keep it. Although I love it, was it worth it? For the amount of use that I get out of it, I would say no, not for the price I paid for it. So that's that. Although, as long as I have it, I should use it, and I'm thinking about moving it into my office and have that in there instead of her just in her stroller. because I use her, I have the bassinet on my Queenie Buzz system, and that's usually what she's in when she's in my office. So yeah, that's how I feel. So I was so happy when I first got it, but then, the ambiance of it really wore off quickly with that one. Unlike my stroller, my Buzz system, I still love that to pieces, and it's 10 years old. So it just is a matter of, what works for you. And everybody's very different. That's why I'm happy to share my thoughts on these things. So moving on to the final thing I'm going to share with you guys is my Orbit Baby Travel System. That is by far one of the most expensive purchases I have ever made for an accessory or doll furniture. And that's including like my own babies, because they weren't out when my babies, like they didn't have all this intricate stuff when my babies were babies. Had it been out, yes, I would have totally spent the money for sure. No doubt in my mind, I would have had these for my living babies because they're amazing. I will say, I purchased, let's see, how long have I had the Orbit Baby system? I want to say 5 years, maybe a little bit more than 5 years I've had the system, and it's the Orbit Baby 2 or 3. Without looking at it, it's a 2 or 3, and they have like, it's based on what edition it is. And I think it's 2, maybe it's 3. I don't know. Don't quote me, but it's one of the 2 or 3. And I love it. I hemmed and hawed prior to, spending money on other things at the time. But after having my Queenie Buzz system, I wanted an additional, wanted something additional. And so I knew I already had another car seat, but it was that, salmon pink color. And I still have the whole system from my, my Queenie Buzz system with the car seat, the adaptable car seat by Maxi Cozy. I still have it and I still love it. But there's something about putting a newborn baby in pink, 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 pink all around them. I don't love the coloring of them. So what I decided is I needed a second car seat. Actually, I have 3, but we're not going to talk about the other one. I needed another car seat that was a more neutral color. And the color I was eyeballing for a long period of time for the Orbit Baby system was a beautiful gray. It was like a medium gray color, not dark, not light, but it was beautiful. And so I found a decent deal and decided I wanted the whole system. So I was going to buy it all soup to nuts or nothing. So I bought the whole system. It was the car seat, swivel base, stroller. I bought the whole system, and it was for around $1,100, $1,200 at the time, which was actually a really good deal considering what, full price was. I found it, someone had an unopened, bought 2, decided they only needed 1, so they sold it on eBay. So I got a deal because they go for much, much more. And when I received that, I was like praying. I'm like, dear God, please let me love this, because I just dropped a small fortune on a second, not one. And yes, guys, I know it's excessive. I know it's a lot to spend, but I am an accessory person and I love strollers. If I could have 5, I would. Luckily, these are all compact and they're easily storable, so they're not taking up a ton of space. But anyways, I digress. I received that Orbit Baby system and I have loved it from the moment I got it. And I've had it for more than 5 years now. I love that it is probably the safest travel system I've ever seen when you actually hook it up and anchor it down in your car. I was floored. I was like, I wish this was around when my babies were babies. I was just amazed at how safe it was. And I also loved the features because you could swivel the stroller and car seat attachment to suit your needs. Like if you're, out shopping and you want to eat lunch and you pull up to, a table, there's no place to face your baby comfortably. So you can swivel the seat to accommodate which direction you're coming from. Or if the baby wants to look out, they can swivel it around. If they want to face you, you swivel it around. It's super easy. It's an awesome system. They have since improved the stroller. The only thing I didn't like about the stroller was that it had a separate 2 handlebar handle, and it wasn't one piece. So for us that film, not that this would be a problem for probably a normal mom, but it was hard to steer it's hard to steer it one-handed. Now they have adapters that you can add to them, which I'm probably going to buy, and that makes it easier to, you know, steer one-handed. Other than that, I absolutely, hands down, the Orbit Baby car seat is my favorite to date. I've seen a lot of really great car seats. I look at them whenever I go into any store that has baby furniture and sells them, because I think that they are awesome and I love them. I don't know what the obsession is, but I know it's a problem for me. I know that I have an obsession for it. And I love how Monroe looks in the Orbit Baby best of all car seats, because like I said, I have a third that I don't love. It's a different kind of maxi cozy and I didn't like it. Probably should sell it. It's in its box still since I've purchased it. But anyways, that's my list, guys. Would I buy the Orbit Baby system? I would buy it at full price because I've gotten so much use out of it. But there you go. Those are some of my most expensive purchases. And would I spend the money again? Was it worth it? Some are, some are not. So you guys be the judge. Most of you out there would probably never spend what I've spent on baby furniture and accessories. And I get that. But like I said, I don't have a room full of dolls. I invest my money into the hobby in a different kind of way than maybe some collectors, but I still get the same amount of enjoyment out of it. And yes, it's not the same feeling of, you know, bringing home a doll, but the accessories really for me is so much a huge part of the fun for me. And I guess last but not least, was Monroe worth it? She absolutely was. I would pay what I paid for her and double that at this point in time, because I love this baby and she is, of course, one of the most expensive purchases I've had, and very much worth it. And so there you have it, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed my little spiel on was it worth it? And sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. And you know, one of the caveats to this, I should say, is that it's like with dolls. You just don't know if you're gonna love something until you get it home. That's the truth of the matter, and you have to bear that in mind. So to each their own. I believe that as long as you enjoy it, and as long as you get use out of it, then it's worth it to you, especially if you enjoy it. That's really what it's all about for all of us in this doll community. I think this hobby has got every different kind of way imaginable you can enjoy the hobby and your dolls and your doll space, and whatever you find fun is perfectly fine. And that's what I will continue to go on, because that's how I feel about it. And for me, accessories is where it's at. I really love them. And those that didn't know that I have 2 stroller systems are gonna probably think I'm out of my mind, but I love them both. Love, love, love them both. And I would spend the money again in a heartbeat to have those. I've gotten so much use out of them, and that's really, the fun for me. But look at how cute she is, you guys. Her and her little dolly. Accessorizing even with the baby. But anyways, guys, happy Friday. Oh, and I will just give you a quick update on our dog. Thank you for all of the wonderful thoughts. You guys have been wonderful, and I apologize for putting it at the end of the video, because I should have said it at the beginning of the video, because a lot of you might not have stuck around for this, but he is doing a lot better after being rehydrated and getting IV nutrients and supplements. And he came home on Tuesday, the last day I had to serve jury duty. And he's been doing as good as we can expect him to be doing, and we're just going to take it day by day and enjoy the time we have with him. And yeah, he's still hanging in there. You actually might hear one of my other dogs snoring in the background. But anyways, guys, thank you as always for all of your support, your loving comments. I really, really appreciate it. I was very stressed out in my last video, so I appreciate all of the uplifting thoughts and prayers, and I just really appreciate all of you out there. So happy Friday, everybody, and you will see us all again very soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.